Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. Welcome back if you are already subscribed to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, you came in at the right time. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. And today I wanted to show you how I got this Instagram brow. I got a couple of requests to show how I do my eyebrows, and trust me, it's not as difficult as you think it is. It's pretty easy. After watching this step-by-step tutorial, I bet you can try it and you'll be like, oh, that's easy. Again, I find that less is more, or also you have to also remember, the more you practice, the better you get at it. If you want to see how I got this brow, stay tuned. So again, doing my eyebrows, at first it seemed like, you know, this was like the biggest deal, which of course for any makeup look, the eyebrow is like the key thing. If you have your eyebrow sets laid, I think you don't even have to do some eyeshadow and some of the other stuff. That's in my opinion. So I struggled with this, but then as I went on, I found out that sometimes the less you do, the easier it gets and the better it looks. So I've tried a few different products in the past, but currently my favorites for my eyebrows, the two products that I love using. The first one is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Perfect Brow Pencil, and I use the shade dark brown. Again, with eyebrow, one of the key things to always remember is that you don't want to use a color or a shade that's too dark, like black. Nobody's eyebrow is black anyway, so you want to stick with something light. If you have like a darker tone skin, you might want to use like a brown, deep brown, or medium brown. I tried the medium brown and I felt like that was a little too light for me, so the dark brown's been perfect. Another product that I use sometimes, that I alternate between, is also the Anastasia Beverly Hills, the deep brow pomade, and this is also, I use the dark brown as well, and it looks like this, and this lasts a long time if you use it very well. I've used the Too Faced brow bead pencil. I think that's what that is called. I've used all the regular brow pencil. So let's get started using this Perfect Brow Pencil. To do first, I always use this the brow brush. So I use the one that comes with the Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I brush it up, and then the top part, brush it down. Kind of follow the shape of your eyebrow. So the next thing I do with my sharpened pencil, I go in, and there's different techniques out there, but for me, I've tried all the techniques and this is what works for me the most. So I start from, like, you take your pencil and you take it, put it straight between, like, where your eye, the inner corner of your eye, and where your brow starts, and a little bit, so it stays like a line straight like this. That usually tells you where to start, or where you can, how far you can extend your brow. If you want, you can do that. Sometimes I prefer it shorter, but in this case I'll just go in and I'll just outline with my pencil, like a very thin line, the underneath of my brow. Kind of follow the shape of the brow, but in a very thin You can see you could barely see it because I'm not pressing it too down, but I'm just using it to define where I would shape. And I just bring it. And the other thing to consider is right here. Align that from your outer corner of your eye and it touches your nose like that. That tells you how far you can bring it out to. And I'm just going faintly. Once I have that done, I use my pencil to just shade the color in, just to fill in the space. And you can see I'm not doing it all the way to the front. I'm leaving the space the way it is, and you'll see why I'm doing that later. Because you don't want it to be too dark in front. You want it to have like a gradient effect where it's very light on the top section, and then it goes darker towards the middle, and then it goes back a little thin on the hand. So next I go do the same thing on the top, and I'll just trace the top again in a very faint line, and just follow the shape of your brow. I mean, if you want a little bit dramatic brow, like you want a little bit of a notch right here, you can always draw it and shape it the way you want. But again, you want it to be realistic and not too fake. But then again, it's your preference. And I bring the line, I join it to the other one. If you don't have a straight perfect line, you don't have to worry about that, because we're going to go back in and clean that up. And I turn it around, take the spoolie out of the brush, and I start brushing it, not just going very lightly to blend it together. And I turn my hand this way with the brush right here, and I start to pull this, brush it this way in the opposite direction. You can see that space that I left earlier on, I'm starting to cover that without putting too much product on that end. And you can see the difference between this brow and this brow. Doing the same thing on the other eye now. Again, I'm gonna start right a little bit close to my nose bridge, and I start to draw that line, and I fill it. And another thing to know about when you're doing your eyebrows is that, like they all say out there, they're not supposed to be the same. You're not always going to get them to match, because they're not supposed to be twins. They are sisters. As long as you get it to a place where they're close enough, then I think you're good. And here you can always step back, because sometimes if you're too close to the mirror, you might not see if it's close. You can step back, then you can look at it and see if the arch are a little bit to where you want it, if they're equal. I mean, almost like I said, they're not gonna be equal, but if they're good enough to the point that you like it enough, If you want to make it a little bit, if you want to raise the arch a little bit, this is where you do it. Then you can go in and just draw your pencil a little bit up and just bring it down. Just add a little at a time as you build that. I think I'm okay with the way this looks, so I'm not going to go in it. So now to clean up the brow, they're quite usually I use concealers to clean it, to shape it out, and this is what gives it that Instagram perfect eyebrow look or YouTube perfect eyebrow look. And I've used NARS. This is the Radiant Creamy Concealer in shade, this one is Amande. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Or sometimes I just use my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I like how this dries up and looks. So for today I'm going to use this, especially on the lower, on my brow bone, I guess, the lower part of it. So for this, there are a couple of brushes that you can use. You can use like a flat definer brush, something like this. This one is from Sigma. I have one that looks exactly like that from Morphe as well. Or you can use like a concealer brush, like a small one. It's a little bit round. And I just take the product and just get a little bit on the product, just a little, you don't need too much. And this is where you start to trace it out, to shape it. Once you trace that, you just bring the remaining product down. Some people go and use a different shade of concealer to also clean the top, but sometimes I don't like that you have that very light, especially if you're using a light shade concealer. You don't want it to highlight the bottom part and also the top part. So I usually would just go with whatever's left on the brush and just use it to clean it up. That way that effect is still there, but it's not too bright. And this is where you just shape it out. Just using a foundation brush just to clean that area up. So once I have that clean up, I go in with a setting powder, and usually you can use any setting powder. In this case, I'm using today the Kat Von D Locate Setting Powder in translucent. Very good. And you just need a little bit of this as well, because you just want to set that concealer that you just used to clean the brow that we just did. And I'm just using like a round brush. This one's from Sigma. So the last step to getting this eyebrow done, how I do it, is setting the brow. So there are a few products out there that you can use. My favorite products are from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Sometimes I use the clear brow gel, and sometimes I do the tinted brow gel, and this one is in shade chocolate. And sometimes I just like that that extra old, and I just do the brow gel and the clear one and the tinted, just the tinted to give it a little bit of shade. So I'm using the tinted now, and you just lightly go on top of what we just did, just brush it in the direction that it's. And that's it. That completes the step-by-step on how I do my eyebrow. I hope this was easy enough for you to follow. Again, practice makes perfect. I'll be right back with the finished look. Ta-da! Here's the final look. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this tutorial was helpful for you. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please show your girl some love. Subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think. If you're already subscribed, thank you. And also, don't forget to click on the notification bell. That way you get reminders anytime I post a new video. And I'd like to hear from you guys. Let me know what other videos you like to see me do. What other tutorials? If you like to see how I get my hair ready in the morning, any other tutorial, let me know. And until next time, stay blessed.